What is the reason? What is the difference between a council sitting in a communal session and that House of Chiefs? What's the difference? It's a communal assembly. So why do you want to fool people with high-sounding words that have nothing to do? You want to replace a Senate with a communal assembly. Oh God. No, I think that these people should be serious. If they want to solve the problem, we all know what the problem is. Somebody made allusion, Dr. Nick here, made allusion to President Biya's statement before Mo Ibrahim. We have tried to assimilate these people and failed. And I keep clapping for Mr. Biya. I say yes, congratulations, because this man knows the problem. He did not just end there. The law on family code, which has sailed through the Senate, Article 114, he recognizes that there was there is Southern Cameroon. He recognizes it. Even in Boya, he said history will have it that Boya was the capital of Southern Cameroon. But these CPDM people, you people still, you are the ones denying that there is Southern Cameroon, when the president himself, on all occasions, says there is Southern Cameroon. But you keep denying. You keep denying. You keep names. Northwest, Southwest. President says Southern Cameroon, but you say Northwest, Southwest. What is your problem? Now you say he's an old man, but the old man seems to be reasoning better than you people. I don't understand. Because he did not only just say Boya was capital of Southern Cameroon. He went ahead to say we tried to assimilate them and failed. And then not ending there. The definition of a Cameroonian, to be a Cameroonian, you must either originate from the Republic of Cameroon had its independence on the 1st of 1960, or from Southern Cameroon we had its independence on the 1st of October 1961. That is in the family code. So what is your problem, you CPDM people? You want to deny what even your own boss is accepting. So I think that we should face the facts. Your boss has accepted that in Southern Cameroon. Why you would tell us how the Southern Cameroon hand over their sovereignty to you? How? We all know what you did in 1960, when your assembly enacted a constitution alone and put Southern Cameroon inside. So today we are asking that irregularity be corrected. And as my brother Dr. Nick says, we need another conference. This time between the two states, please. There is no dancing around. You cannot recognize in the family code that there are two states. Then you come and tell us that the whole nation is that. Please, be consequential. Call the two states that you have recognized in the definition of Cameroon, of Cameroonian nationality. Call them to sit on the table. Let us iron this thing out. We have to take a decision on the form of the state. What form should the state take? The institutions of the state. It is not a matter for one person. You, my brother, who has the same status as me, cannot give me a status. You cannot. Like if I was saying, it is a total sham. It's a total scamming status. I don't see one person who has said that nonsense. And even within you people, you cannot agree as to what you are calling.
They know that it's a sham.
It's a sham.
They know that they are just playing to the gallery.
So I think, Mr. Elvis, you see, this is a thing that if we want this thing to end, we are all aware. You see, the government has been telling fat lies, minimizing the situation when we know that. You see, it's just like somebody has a big wound in his leg. Instead of going to the hospital to cure it, he takes a big trouser and covers it. The thing is getting rotten, and he is fooling people that know that he's fine. Eventually, they will have to cut off the leg. That is what is going to happen. If you see, because we have this situation where things are getting bad in the field, they want to fool us. They say that the Amber Boys have been reduced to small groups. But if Donald Trump's African Affairs advisor can say, we know that there are 670,000 active Amber Boys. So I don't know what answer do you have to that. No. It is not actually talking.
All right.
Donald Trump's special advisor on African Affairs.
Okay. It's
terrible. Please take this thing seriously. You cannot give a special status to people who have that type of army waiting for you.
All right.
If you want it to end, call them to the table.
All right, Senior Barrister, thank you. Now, let me talk to you, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam. Now, there's a need to resolve the crisis in these two English-speaking regions, which has led to the death of more than 3,000, displaced more than 1 million. Now, the government, in resolving this crisis, is proposing a kind of special status for these two regions, giving autonomy to this region now. How do you welcome it after listening to Senior Barrister Ashu?
Oh, thank you. Before I answer this specific question of yours, I'd like to just make a comment about what Mr. John Akuru said in the U.S. To say that I think he was making allusion to the fact that people stay at home. People stay at home, and in respect of the ghost towns, not out of fear, but because they agree with what they are saying. No, it's not true. People stay at home out of fear. Okay, it's fear that keeping people at home. It's not, they are staying at home, it's not because they agree with your own position or they want to enforce your position. That's not true. Let's just get this thing straight so that we don't keep, because when we mix up these things, we'll never find a solution. So let us agree once and for all that when they say ghost towns, it's not a democratic thing. It's somebody just dictating from there, and there are boys who will shoot at you at any time. Because even as I speak, being in Douala, on my phone I keep getting threats all the time from many people asking for this and that. So it's not, and if the fun of so is going along with military people to his village, it shows that there's no security. And if, for instance, what is the acid test to show that the place is secure and there is no problem? I would like somebody like the Minister of Territorial Administration or the Prime Minister to not drive, to just take his driver and just drive, through West Cameroon. Then it will be a good acid test that there's no problem. But if they themselves are going and they have armored cars all over the whole place, it means there is a problem, and we should stop deceiving each other. We should look at the problems and solve them. I just wanted to make that point very clear. There's no security there. That said, let me come back to your question. Just refresh my mind, please.
Yeah, we're finding out now the two regions will be given a kind of special status. Now, the autonomy that they have is not going to be accorded to the other 8 regions. Now, don't you think it's a way forward, a kind of way towards solving the problem, because the solutions cannot be arrived at just like magic? It's a process, I think.
Let me say that I was a participant at the major national dialogue in Yaoundé, and that's why when I talk about it, what it was and how things turned out, I say it authoritatively because I was there. I didn't hear. That's not the way a dialogue is held. And then the other thing is, when the government came up with this thing called special status, that sometimes when a big man does something, you can't just challenge a big man up front. He can leave a window through which you can go through that window into the inner chambers and correct a couple of things. So when they talked about the special status, I was of the opinion that they were afraid to just say federation or confederation, okay, just to save face. And special status or federation or confederation would just be a name. You could still call it special status, but you take those things that would pass for a confederation and put it in that box. Are you getting what I'm saying? And it will still do the job that it was supposed to do. So I was one of those people, we were putting ideas together. What should be a special status? We actually compiled those things and send them to the Prime Minister. Though during the process of compiling it, we those of us who are true confederalists, we put in stuff. Then there were some people who were put in there by the Prime Minister who were pulling out stuff to make it as weak as possible. That's why in the special status now you see that the only thing that is standing is House of Chiefs, which has no meaning. Now, that said, the House of Chiefs, today the House of Chiefs is probably, what am I saying? House of Chiefs Confederation, special status, there's nothing to it. And so I would just say that what we have on the table now called special status or what does not really address the problems of the Anglophones. It does not. And if we really have any respect for our President, His Excellency President Paul Biya, then we would want to go and ask him, say, Papa, when you were talking to Mo Ibrahim, what exactly did you mean? Did you say those things, and were you okay when you were saying those things, or somebody pushed you to say them? If he says he was okay and he was in his right mind when he said those things, then I would encourage all Cameroonians to respect the president, because he looks like he says things and we don't do what exactly he is saying. But again, like I have said before, the unfortunate thing is that he is making this very important statement after the major national dialogue had held. You see, and the national dialogue was holding under a certain umbrella and aura aura of how do I put it? The ambient understanding and situation was these Anglophones are our slaves. Let's try to see how we can blindfold them and keep them where they are. Let's throw some bones at them and see what happens. Oh. It was not really meant to solve the problem as it is. So when the president says these people cannot be manhandled, let us see what we can do for them. He is saying, let us have another dialogue. Let us give them some breathing space, and it is that breathing space that will be defined in the dialogue I said is coming. And before you take back the microphone, the president has been struggling a lot. One thing that we have to understand is we have to always take time off to study the characters of people and see how they do business. You know, President Paul Biya is someone who is he's not always upfront with things. He is a little bit laid back, and then he gathers some of these people and give them power and say, look, we have these problems, can you help me manage the country? Because of course, it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, you are Donald Trump, you cannot manage the country alone. So you need people to work with. But like we've said before, we have a problem of elites in this country. And I guess that's the problem with most elites in Africa. The elites don't work in the interest of the people, and the elites don't work in the interest of the president. The elites work in their own interest and do things for their own stomachs, where they take politics now as a source of food. And as long as it's a source of food, they always do everything that is possible for them to stay at the table to eat. So when the people are saying some things, they will go to the big man and tell the big man something else. When the big man asks for their advice, they will always give the kind of advice that allows them to stay at the table to eat. That is their problem. Their problem first is the stomach. And truth and love are not part of the deal. If truth and love were part of the deal, we would have been done with this thing a long time ago.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Nick. Now, back to you. Robert Kenya, a lot of talks has been directed to you, but then before maybe you want to answer that, when we look at these two regions, now the CPDM, it's largely not having any competitor in this race for the seats available for grabs. Now, what does that mean to the CPDM elites who are going in for the elections?
It's not only we don't only have CPDM that have least in the whole of Northwest and the Southwest region, but we should make it also clear that when there are people that have their political party and they went in for a presidential election and they could not have anything and they lost, and now that's why they will say the next election will be a total failure. Let people disrespect democratic process and constitutional processes that are available. But actually that's not it. What's important is bringing back peace in the Northwest and in the Southwest region. And to bring out peace in the Northwest and Southwest region, everyone needs to sit, give a break, think again and reason more before we can actually move forward. The last time I watched a chairman of an opposition party, Nijon Fundi, when he said we need to stop things, re-strategize and move ahead. Because everyone come and talk and this one shout CPDM has done this. Mr. Mbah is abroad. He knows that even them abroad, the people are discrediting them. Even among themselves abroad, people are saying that forget about us in Europe. You people in Cameroon, you should do your things. They themselves, they know it. Traditional rulers are being discredited and called names. Political elites are being called names. Men of God are being called names. When you come with your opinion, they insult you. If you are from the CPDM, they say your political party is this or that. If you are from this sector, is that the way we want to build a nation? Everybody have become critics. Nobody think about what to give in so that we should go forward. Fine. The government has given its own. You call it cosmetic. What have the other part done to bring back peace? Holding of gun, constant killing. I would really want to make it. Dr. Nick already said it, and I will also say that the people of the Northwest actually is fear. It's not like they are respecting the people, they are respecting the other. No. and we've also seen threat that the Mbah fighters have been given, and there are some things that have happened that we saw these guys coming out and actually being open to stand against villagers, standing against these Mbah guys attacking some of them. But actually, I'm not out here to talk about all this or to talk about political affiliation, but I just want to say we should look at the way forward. These institutions have been created, they are there, we empower it, I'll move forward. If the institutions are there, we take it, and we ask for more, I will move ahead. If we keep on criticizing, no, when something has been brought forward, accept the institution, empower it, and you go further. If, for instance, today we have a special status and we have our regions, and we say that they are head of councillors, and the House of Chiefs is not like the House of Senate that they were before, accept it, you empower it, and you move ahead. That is what we are supposed to do. Keep on criticizing. We had a grand national dialogue, everybody say it was a total sham, but all of us here, we accept, and on our viewers, we accept that there will not be a grand national dialogue that will come out and everybody will be 100% happy. So we should be realistic when we are saying all these things, and we should put ahead. The grand national dialogue has there, yes, its successes, definitely. When we say that the grand national dialogue had no success, then I would say it's a total bias. When we say this regional election coming up has nothing to do, I say it is a total bias. All the things that have been put in place have their own effect that they will do for peace to return. We should always have good faith when we want to build our nation. Rather than being critics, we should also see how we can also give our own in. If the government have done this and we say it is cosmetic, and I ask now, the other people that will say that they want to separate, what have they done on their own part to ensure that the boat goes on smoothly? That's it. We are Cameroonians. In 50 years time, or in 50 years time, no, in 50 years time I will still be alive. In about 100 years time, none of us here will be alive. In various way, which is, I still repeat, one, the problem we have here, people say it is historic, but I don't see it that way. Some people will say it is political, I don't see it that way. The only suffering we are having here is that we have two cultures that we are having this problem. And the way forward is for us to harmonize things and move ahead. That's the only solution. And with the coming election, I still believe that the House of Chiefs has always have their influence, and they will keep on having their influence. And now they are having a house which is meant just for them chief. I think they will have more influence to do something good. But when we say they will have nothing to do, then that's bias. As we speak now, even without this House of Chiefs have influence with a lot they can do. If somebody say chiefs have no influence, then that person is totally dishonest. And when this house will be created, that will empower them the more. I believe that they'll have more to do so that we can come out of this problem. But what is important is that those in the diaspora, they should bring their own quarter of peace. The chiefs should bring their own quarter of peace. Political elites should bring their own, and administrative elite, everybody should bring his own quarter so that we can move ahead. And we should stop this affair of thinking that we are 100% always correct in our own perspective and we can't move a step. So we should be honest, especially those in the diaspora. They should be honest and say the truth. They should not speak because they are in the diaspora and they don't know what the people are feeling in the field, because they cannot know, because they are not there. They may claim they feel what the people go through there, but they don't know because they are not there. They still drink their wine. Mr. Mbah will confirm that here. We see some of their colleagues swimming in swimming pools, enjoying their life while the people are going through pain. So when they come, they should not come and say the government is this, the government is satanic, the government have not done anything, they are enjoying. As if they are in diaspora, they are not enjoying. They are also enjoying. They are having their jobs, they are earning a living, and they are living fat and fresh. So the things now have to do with part to be played by the two to ensure that they both move forward. And if this is to be done, humility needs to come in by both sides, and we see how we can move ahead. The problem, as I said, is issue of two culture. Let us see how we can harmonize it and move ahead. And if we think we cannot harmonize it, then we should see how we can power each and move ahead. But it is a very complex situation because we have few that we can compare. Some people will compare it with Quebec in Canada, but it's so hard to compare it with Quebec in Canada because Canada is a country that have been in democracy for hundreds of years. We are still young and we are moving ahead. Let's give our own quarter to build for peace to return.
Now, Mr. Fibes, now he insists on the fact that when there's a house of chief and the chiefs are empowered, they'll have more power to do something right now. Is it going to work that way? Now that's what the point he insists on, that power should be given to chiefs, and when they have that power, they better represent their people at the local level, because the chiefs, we know that they're always there, they're always present, and sometimes the masses trust them more than the political representatives who come and go. The chiefs are always there.
It's a very good question. Kedia from the CPDM is preaching the gospel of Lucifer. He talks and you think that is an angel that has come from heaven. That is how the people behave. They will come on air, you know it's a peace, no peace, you know we have to preach peace, we have to do this, just want to give out the peace and that. Where was the peace before? When they destroyed it? When a regime puts in place a bad system of administration that brings in place chaos, that very regime has what it takes, should take as its responsibility to bring back the peace. Don't start dragging people inside. Yaoundé have the knife and the yam. When Kedia sits here on air with his ruling party, the CPDM, and they tell you, please let us preach peace, they are the number one brokers of the peace. They are the first stumbling block of peace in this country. Because for 4 years running, they have been lying. Kedia tells me, you know, the House of Chiefs, at least if they keep them on, just as you are asking the question, they'll be able to do something. Kedia does not even understand the function of the House of Chiefs. Kedia, go back and read the decree governing the functioning of House of Chiefs. You will not be blowing this grammar you are blowing here. If we sit here and tell you that the chiefs have only an opinion and the opinion is based on two things, either on how their house should function or on education. Opinion. A CPDM man here tells me the chiefs can change things based on opinion. Are we fools on this platform? Mr. Kedia, please go back and read the decree signed by President Paul Biya, president of our party, the CPDM, governing the functioning of House of Chiefs and regional elections. You will not blow this grammar here. Because the woman listening to you there in Furawa will think that this is the gospel to this man is talking. And that is how you have deceived Cameroonians all through, why they keep languishing in poverty. It will not work. House of Chiefs has no impact as of now, until they empower them as it is supposed, and they cannot be empowered by the people. Because I hear Kedia telling us we should empower. The man that appoints the House of Chiefs should empower the House of Chiefs. What role is Fay Elvis having to play? How can I empower a House of Chiefs? Did I appoint him? Kedia, go to Yaoundé. Tell Yaoundé that they who appointed the House of Chiefs should empower the House of Chiefs and not make them to give with opinions. Opinions that can be taken by the head of state as well as cannot be taken. And opinions that are limited to two things. So we are now saying here that people should be informed of reality, because the lies telling of Yaoundé regime is over. Now, Mr. Luis, we look at the functioning of it. They say House of Chiefs have power, as our brother is saying. They have a say. It means that they are encouraging what we call smoke screen houses, where people go and sit, exhausted budget, at the end they come out. I have been telling people, if the National Assembly and the Senate itself cannot change things in this country, who are House of Chiefs and regional councillors? Let me ask this question here. Mr. CP the man, tell me. If all the time, 4 years running, nobody is courageous enough in the Senate to say, if they are not addressing Anglophone crisis, no business here in the Senate. If they are not addressing Anglophone crisis, no business here in the National Assembly. We might try and they chase him and he escaped. There was a time the SDF councillors tried foul. They tried. I should appreciate them. That's the truth. If I say they did not try, it means I will not be fair to myself. There was a time they stood up, they blew whistles up in the National Assembly. After that, what next? Nothing changed. If these kangaroo houses in Yaoundé cannot change a dime as per se to bring an end to the Anglophone crisis, it's not Kedia here in the studio blowing grammar on let everybody contribute his own quarter of the peace and it will change. Why do we deceive people overnight? When the reality is on the ground and people are dying every day, I said sometime, I told an administrative officer in Boya the other day, who told me that the crisis is almost getting to an end. And I took time to educate the man because it looks like he was daydreaming. I told him that based on my study and as an investigating journalist, I only realized that the conflict is changing, is metamorphosizing. From the time you could see them, the boys come out and shoot at random. Now it is tactical approach. It is more dangerous. And that's what the Americans suffered in Vietnam. We talk about ambush. Today we hear about gas bottles that they detonate using phones. I think they use phones. They could press a phone and a gas bottle would explode somewhere. We saw that Antaricon around hospital about some time ago. Boya has recorded about 2 explosions of recent. And the next thing is you start hearing them carrying out ambush and all the like. It means that the system of the fight is changing. And what KJ is not telling Yaoundé is that as you are delaying, those boys in the bushes are becoming more experienced than before. I remember these are guys who could not hold AK. These are guys who could hold 10 guns and rubber guns. And today you hear that they have AK. It means that very soon you hear that they have long-range missiles. It's a possibility. Because as you delay, they become more experienced and they develop other ideas in the bushes that will far become a more threat to the government. So if Kedia is honest here, he should tell Yaoundé that the way they are undermining this thing, they should be careful because it might come to a time that they will not be able to control the way I see things moving here. Now, at the level of the regional elections coming up, as everybody is blowing grammar, regional election. Kedia said, you know, they should believe in the thing and all the like. I want to repeat, anybody who believes on House of Chief to offer a dime for the good of Cameroon is a daydreamer. Anybody who believes that regional election and councillors will come, I say just equate that to National Assembly and Senate. These are well-structured houses in Yaoundé. I repeat, well-structured houses in Yaoundé. The Senate could be some 7 years old, but the National Assembly has been for more than 40 years old. And if 4 years running, no member of parliament, I repeat, no member of parliament can cause President Biya to call for a genuine dialogue, then who are regional councillors? At the end of it, Mr. Luis, let's just be honest as we're ending this, as I'm giving back the microphone to you, that in all honesty, whether Yaoundé likes it or not, they must come to a genuine dialogue table. It's a matter of time. Kedia, go and tell Yaoundé this story I'm telling you people. Because I remember that in Colombia, the FARC rebels fought for over 50 years. Colombian government got tired and called the rebels, the FARC rebels, to table for dialogue. Imagine how many thousands of people had died. A thing that would have been addressed before then. And so, Kedia, as Yaoundé people say they know a lot, go and tell Yaoundé that it's a matter of time, whether they like it or not, they will come to dialogue. And as Barrister Ashu said, as senior barrister said, when they are coming to dialogue, the key actors must be present. Listen, they must be present, if you like it or not. If you go and bring CPDM psychophans and CPDM family members in Yaoundé, you are still wasting your time because national dialogue has not yielded any fruit. It's a no event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fay Elvis. Now, back on the other side now. Regional elections are enshrined in the Cameroon's Constitution 1999. Now, do you think if these elections would have been held before now, do you think you would have yielded any fruit? Will it have been positive now? Because we criticize the fact that the regional elections, it's certainly empty window dressing now. What if the elections had held before now? Do you think it would have made any difference at the moment?
Yes, Louis, before I get into the crux of your question, let me first of all respond to what Dr. Ngwanyam said. Dr. Ngwanyam noted that, the respect of the ghost towns or the lockdowns is out of here. I want to be very honest here, and I want us to be very factual when we say certain things. We shouldn't just say things because we have the possibility of saying them. Dr. Ngwanyam, you will remember that when the first ghost towns were caught on the 9th of January, 2017, were there Mbah boys? Was there anybody carrying any arms anywhere? Do you recall that the ghost towns that you see instituted until today were instituted at that time, and that until November 2017, the people of the Southern Cameroons respected these ghost towns calls from the consortium and other bodies when no one had arms. And I'd like you to know that the Monday Ghost Town was instituted right from that time, and people accepted it. Because you people continue to be in denial of the fact that the people of the Southern Cameroons are sick and tired of being slaves, you will continue to imagine things and say them. I want you to know, I am the leader of the civil society organizations operating in the Southern Cameroons. They are under the consortium. And I want to let you know how we arrived at decisions to get ghost towns or lockdowns. These decisions are taken in total consultation, in discussion and agreement with the people on the ground. That is why they implement them. You should be able to know this. You will shake your head, you will doubt it because you are not aware of how these things happen. I've just asked you to justify. Right up to November, and that was the end of November 2017, were there Amber Boys? There were no Amber Boys anywhere. There were no arms anywhere. The people constantly respected the stay-at-home orders. And I want to tell you this. When you look at the result of the survey conducted by Christian Cardinal Toomey, he conducted it at this time, in 2019, when you are saying that, which falls within the period that you are already saying people are forced or people are terrorized or people are frightened. That was an opportunity for the people to say, no, we really don't want what is happening. They didn't say so. The other survey from the CDN was organized in June of 2000 and was organized just about 2 months ago. This 2020, 86% of the people overwhelmingly say we align with these people who give us these orders to stay at home. What does that tell you? I think we should actually avoid sometimes trying to just, throw jabs. And I'm so shocked that Mr. Kedia is, so blindsided as to not even realize that what he is doing on the set there is trying to play, that kind of, that kind of game. Cameroon wants to have some. Yes, I agree with Dr. Ngwanyam that the people of the Northwest are suffering from intimidation. Mr. Kedia, the people of Mbah, as I'm talking to you, are in lockdown. Is Mbah in the Northwest? As I'm talking to you right now, are you aware that last night, breaking this morning at a snack bar in Boya called Las Vegas, that soldiers got into the place, carted everybody there, whether you had ID card or not, beat people mercilessly, even harassed some old people coming away from a wedding. Beat all of them. They were throwing people in trucks at random. And they even harassed a UN official there who was seriously at pains to define who he was before at the end of the day he was delivered. Is that in Bamenda? Are you aware, Mr. Kedia seated there, that even at this moment that you and I are talking, people are in tears in Kupenga Nenguba? That the military has used helicopter gunships to spray bullets on people in Babubok. That as we are talking here with you, around 121 people are reported to have died there. From last night breaking today. You are on the set talking. Just talking trash. Just talking because at the end of the day, some minister will say, I saw you on that set and call you and give you 10,000 francs, go and take a beer. Don't forget, Mr. Kedia, I was in that country with you. I sat on sets there, live in that country, and spoke with you. I know your type. So I'm not surprised what you are doing. Work your money. Look for your little bread. I'm not sure. That's why I was laughing each time you were talking. So I like us to be very factual. We are talking here about human lives. We are not joking here. When you say the people, the pro-independence leaders abroad are so divided even among themselves, and that is why they will keep fighting and attacking others, each other as an excuse. Look, gentlemen, I have said it several times and I will repeat it. We know that we are up against a system that only thrives on divide and rule. That's why they use people like you. That's why they want you to come and give the impression that this crisis or this conflict is raging on only in the Northwest. There's nothing happening in the Southwest. That's why they bring people like you, lies like you, to come and see and give the impression to the world that this thing, no, there is one part which is not for, there is another one which is against. That is the same way you have been struggling to divide us, so you can use that as an excuse to say, no, you see, we even find it difficult to get people to really talk with. Let me assure you, you said one thing and I like to take from there, that the government has done its own by holding a national dialogue. Let the pro-independence leaders give their own. The pro-independence leaders have been asking you to come to the negotiation table. It is on the negotiation table that they do give and take. Do you understand that? If you understand what negotiations means, I know you have even been so seriously brainwashed that you will not even understand what this thing stands, what this thing means. Once in a while, reach out. We will freely provide you the kind of education that will make you think independently and critically like a human being. So you avoid really getting so seriously brainwashed. Look at what is happening in Kumba with the incidents at the Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academy. The Prime Minister, Mr. John Gute, said the proprietors of the school and her husband and the teachers and the administrative staff that were kept under detention were kept there for preventive detention and will be released. Even before the funeral of those children, they were not. The SDO, Mr. Tundam, said they were kept there for preventive to protect them. They will soon release them. They told us at one point that they had killed 2 of the so-called Amber commanders who were involved with the mass killing at the Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academy. Suddenly, they came again, I think about 2 days ago, and said they had arrested some other person who was connected to it. Yet they turn around and they are now charging teachers and the proprietor and his wife of the school of terrorism. How do you describe that kind of system? How does it factor in? Thieves broke into your house, loot from you, even shoot some of your people in the house, and the administration charges you for that murder. Are you sound? I think you should be ashamed of yourself when your people are dying and you come and sit on media to be saying this kind of things. I think, to be very frank here, what you are not realizing is that even the soldiers who are on the ground carrying out some of these evil acts are getting so seriously exhausted. I'm sure you must have seen a list circulating from the Ministry of Defense of over 200 soldiers that have deserted. I have the privilege to have spoken to a number of them and even given them assistance to desert because they reached out and say, you are out there, do you know how we can live? We are really undergoing serious torture here. There is one in particular who is in Cyprus today as we speak. He reached out to me from Ekondo Titi. He said, Mr. Akuro, you know what? I left Santa before coming here, and I saw a situation there that touched my heart, and I have to escape. I had to struggle to get your telephone number to reach out to you to tell you this. And he told me Mr. Fu Jonathan has a camp, a small place where he has gathered more than 50 little children, young boys, all of them, and locked them inside there, and they send them out to go and commit atrocities so they should say that they are Amber boys, and they work with them. So he said one of the boys, 19 years old, fortunately that young man is in the US now because we had to work hard to get him out, found his way to escape, and he told this soldier that he was the only son to his mother. His father died when he was 2 and cried and told his mother his mother had been sick for 18 years and he didn't want to die. This soldier told me after he had to assist this young man until taken to the Kondo Titi, he thought it had reached the tipping point. He had to leave. And the people who are but if you out will be nobody to continue this situation. I said when I look at some of them are 65, 70 years old. How long are they going to live again? That they want the entire younger generation decimated just for selfish political reasons. I'm sorry I took time off to get these things clear so that people like Kedia should understand it. So let me get back to your questions. Let me get back to your question about. So in 30 seconds, I'll be able to respond to your question. Before you continue with that, we want to say we are not taking sides with exactly 30 seconds, yes. 30 seconds will do. Okay. What I want to say is simple. These elections really, really are a waste of time. Like Tayonfa has pointed out, the truth is, if the Senate, the National Assembly, cannot the people, they would have never ever even been able to propose a private member bill and it goes through. What role would moribund structures like regional assemblies have? I simply consider this sinecure positions being created by Mr. Biya to widen the number of his sycophants who will be ready to die for him at any time and keep him there, because they too would consider that they are part of the eating game. Thanks, I yield.
All right. Yes, thank you very much, John Bakoro. Just like I was emphasizing here, that you have your opinions, but we're not taking sides with the claims, whatever you've said regarding the killings on the ground. We